the 9th week of his Jerusalem trial for the murder of 6 million Jews, Adolf Eichmann takes the stand in his bulletproof dock.
Eichmann was head of what is called the Jewish department in the SS and the Gestapo. In many German documents it was called Operation Eichmann, the murder of the Jews of Europe. Hitler and Himmler and these people who actually made the order to kill all the Jews in 1941, they of course were more guilty. But Eichmann was in charge of the whole of the carrying out of the Holocaust. Eichmann in 1960 was caught by Israeli agents in the Argentina, and there he was brought to Israel. 2 days after he arrived in Israel, the Minister of Justice called me and he said, "Mr. Bach, I imagine you will be one of the prosecutors in the trial, but would you be prepared also to be in charge of the investigation?" The whole world spoke about it in all the newspapers. You could see that Eichmann was proud about anything he did in order to prevent the saving of a single Jew.
And then they took my mother, and she said, "Let us go before her." They caught mother and shot her too.
There was a man in Israel. I put him on the stage as a witness, and then I asked him, "What happened to your family?" He said, "Well, I had no idea what Auschwitz meant." And he said, "My wife, when we came there, was sent to the left, which was showed afterwards to the gas chambers. And I had a little daughter, 2.5 years old. And of course they said also to the left. Then they asked me, what was your profession? I said, well, I was an engineer in the army. So they said to the right, they still wanted to keep him to do some work. And then who else? I had a boy. How old was he? 13. So the SS commander said, well, I have to talk to the commander-in-chief. So it took a few minutes, and then he said to the boy, run after your mother. And I saw the witness, he was back there, with I could see his eyes, and he said, I couldn't see my wife anymore, she was swallowed up in the crowd. I couldn't see my son anymore, he was swallowed up in the crowd. But my little daughter, she had a red coat, and that little red dot, getting smaller and smaller, this is how my family disappeared from my life. At that time, my little daughter was exactly 2.5 years old, and I had bought her a red coat 2 weeks before that. So when the witness said that about the red coat, it suddenly cut off my voice completely. I suddenly couldn't utter a sound. Until this very day, I can be in a restaurant, I can be in a street, and I suddenly feel my heart beating, and I turn around and I see a little boy or a little girl in a red coat.